Independent Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
Say, pal, you don't look so good. You better find something to eat before night comes. Maxwell the Great.
So, we're talking about Don't Starve today.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Kira.
And yes, the quote from the guy telling you to find something to eat is a quote from the game called Don't Starve.
Yep.
Now, if you've heard of this game, great. If not, it's basically your standard kind of survival game. But imagine if your standard survival game had some Lovecraftian twists and a really cool art style.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. Actually, I don't even know how many there are, but it's one of those few games that has sanity as a stat, as a meter that will affect the way you play the game.
Mm-hmm. You know it's hardcore when there's a sanity meter.
Yeah, definitely. So we should probably talk about what we think about the game before we start getting into the deep dive of the story.
We play it a lot together. And it's really fun and interesting. It's way more difficult than it should be, in my opinion. But I understand if people want to play with it at that difficulty. I can't.
Oh yeah, if you're any elitist purists out there that are like, oh, it's supposed to be that difficult, please, just get out of here. Honestly, we'll probably do an episode on you one day. If you have fun at that, great for you. It'd actually be kind of fun to watch to see how you manage that somehow. Or maybe not. Maybe it's extremely tedious and boring to watch. But that's just not for us.
Yeah, we have the game modded to make it easier on us.
Which is going to be amazing because, which is amazing because Clay, the company that makes this game, are extremely modder friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that is amazing. You don't see that from a lot of game companies these days. And the fact that they do means that even though the game is significantly harder than either of us would recommend, you're able to mod it to make that not really ever an issue anymore. Mm-hmm. And so we always try to mod it, not to make the game too easy, but to make it at least what we consider to be a fair challenge.
Yeah.
Like, what's one of the biggest things that we change with our mods, for example?
Wildfires in summer. Just things randomly catching on fire. And you had to have an ice fling-o-matic around and keep it stocked in order to stop fires.
Yeah,
in order for your stuff not to burn down.
The only thing to stop... Well, no, was you don't need a mod for that, actually. You can just turn that off in the settings.
No, not wildfires.
Yes.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But that was annoying.
Yeah, the dying mechanic.
Oh, yeah, because it's nearly permadeath, where if you ever die, there's like one, with a few exceptions, respawn points in the entire world. So you would have to physically travel as your ghost to that spot to respawn and come back again.
And you got the respawn penalties, too.
Oh, yeah, and the penalties were permanent.
Yeah.
So you could never actually fully recover your health. And I loathe that. It's punishing. It's punishing to play. Mm-hmm. It's not challenging, it's punishing.
Yeah.
There's a clear difference.
Yeah, and in a game like this where it's difficult enough that you're probably going to die a bit, you know?
Yeah, that's what the game is about. The game is about dying and then trying to not do that.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to learn to get good at the game. Like, just the other day, we played a game of Don't Starve where we went around the entire continent and mapped it out before the first month of autumn even ended. Mm-hmm. And that's actually a really efficient way to get a lay of your land before having to actually worry about enduring the winter. But you would only know to do that if you had played the game multiple times.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Don't Starve versus Don't Starve Together?
Sure. So the single-player game Don't Starve was still being developed, and there's several DLC for it, with a lot of content that never made it into Don't Starve Together. But Don't Starve Together is the separate multiplayer version of the game that is also updated with content, but it is seen as a live service type thing. So they keep updating it with events that you can do with other people and more content as well. And I believe the DLCs for the original Don't Starve game are all the extra content it got.
Right. So Don't Starve Together is the one we normally play because we love playing together, right? Mm-hmm. It's a real great multiplayer game if you ever want to try to play with someone.
Yep. But that means that you don't get the DLC content that's in the single player game.
I mean, there's some DLC content that was reused in Don't Starve Together.
Yes, there is some, but there's like entire types of worlds that you can't do in Don't Starve Together that would be interesting.
Yeah, but to me, it's still worth it to be able to play with another human being.
Yeah, true. And like, you still have all the mechanics and stuff, and it still gets updated regularly, so yeah.
And there is some microtransactions in the game, which is unfortunate, but I don't know. Oh, also the modding can be sometimes a bit frustrating because the game is still constantly being updated.
So like if the mods aren't being updated, sometimes they can break. It depends on what's updated, but yeah, if there's an update in the game, sometimes a mod can break.
So if you're playing a modded game of Don't Starve and you stop playing for like a few months and you come back, it might not work anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's really unfortunate. Mm-hmm. That I wish there was a bit more support for that.
Yeah,
I would like maybe Steam don't force you to update to newer versions or something.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the story of Don't Starve and what it's really about. Now, right. In case we haven't set the stage of how dark this game is, like when you're surviving, you have to keep your health up, like you don't want to take too much damage, but you also have to constantly be eating. You can't, or you'll starve. You also have to not go insane, and there's so many ways to go insane. Like, whenever it's nighttime, you have to be around a campfire and have some amount of light, because there are monsters in the dark, and they will get you. Just being near the dark is enough for your sanity to start draining. And when your sanity drains, sometimes you'll start imagining monsters. And these imagined, like, shadow monsters can start coming after you as well. Mm-hmm. And certain things about the world will start to change as your sanity dwindles. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll start to lose color. You'll start to see things. Sometimes, like, entire textures are swapped out for other creatures and stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just things about your experience will differ. Sometimes only certain things only happen when you have sanity versus when you don't. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just wanted to set the stage of how creepy this world is. A lot of Lovecraftian kind of themes. So I guess, Kira, take us away with the story. Part of the Lovecraftian themes is that we don't know a lot about how things work in this world. Yeah, a lot of paranormal kind of stuff. Yep. All right, so we're going to start, and it will be confusing at first. You'll wonder what the hell this has to do with the game, but I promise we will get there. And keep in mind, I don't actually know a lot about this. We're relying on Kira's expertise for this. I researched the lore for this. I've just been playing the game. I really never played the single player one because I never cared to. I was always just multiplayer. Mm-hmm. All right. So do you want to start or should I? You. All right. So pre-game events. July 26, 1901. William Carter, a stage performer, departs from Liverpool, England on board a ship named Quest to move to the United States. Who's William? You'll find out. Okay. In America, William tries to make a living as a stage performer. November 11th, 1903. The twins Abigail Lillian Carter and Wendy Carter are born. They're the daughters of Jack Carter, William's brother. Oh, Abigail and Wendy, they're the girl. Okay. William finds himself in debt. He receives a postcard from Jack, who lives on the West Coast.
August 15th, 1904. William buys a ticket for a train going from New York City, New York to San Francisco, California.
August 23rd, 1904. The Daily Speaker newspaper reports a story about a passenger train striking at Abernathy and Parker Circus wagon at the Old Mill Crossing. Dozens are injured and one man is missing and presumed dead. Based on his description, the man is most likely William Carter.
After the train accident, William writes a postcard to Jack from Norfolk, Nevada, in which he reveals he is alive and that he has found a book containing terrifying new possibilities.
June 6, 1905. William Carter requisitions advertisements in the San Francisco Call for a Lady Assistant. He appears to be working under a new name, Maxwell the Great. He no longer wears glasses and appears very confident. He is now living in San Francisco, California. So Maxwell's real name is William? Of course, because every playable character in the game, their name starts with a W.
Yep.
Except Maxwell. But it's a lie. His real name is William.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he's Abigail and Wendy's uncle.
I didn't know that they were related to him.
Yep. He's their uncle.
Because Wendy's also a playable character in the game.
Yes.
You'll notice Abigail, her name doesn't start with a W. She's not.
Maxwell appears to be holding rituals and summoning strange beings. He's writing notes about what he's seen.
So we're going straight on like Necronomicon at this point.
There is a book. Oh, dang it. I didn't write down the name of the book, but the book is called something. And that is the book he's referring to. The book is called the Codex Umbra. And actually, you know what? Well, I'll explain this later. But yes, that is the book he's referring to, the Codex Umbra.
Okay. Maxwell has acquired an assistant, Charlie, and has become a very popular act. He is using the shadow creatures from his book as part of his performance. In a letter to Maxwell, Charlie talks about working on a new finale when she comes back from her sister's place.
April 17th, 1906. The night before Maxwell and Charlie's last show, Charlie visits Maxwell's apartment. She finds his hidden room behind the fireplace. As she takes a look at his book, shadowy hands appear in the other room. They are vanquished by Maxwell, who magically manifests from a photograph on the wall. Charlie uses her lantern to look at the walls of his secret room, where Maxwell has scribbled troubling words and strange symbols. Distressed by what she sees, she runs out of the apartment with his outfit. She leaves a letter revealing that he had been out of contact with her for days.
That night, Maxwell and Charlie perform their final act. Maxwell attempts to pull shadows from the book, but they try to pull him in. Multiple shadow hands emerge from the book, grabbing Maxwell and Charlie. Charlie is later officially reported missing on this day.
Maxwell takes the nightmare throne, becoming the king of the constant, bending it to his will and creating many creatures to inhabit it. Charlie becomes the night monster.
Wait, what's the constant?
The constant is the world that Maxwell inhabits in Don't Starve.
Oh, so they get pulled into the world and they're stuck there now?
Yep. And that's that's what it's called, the constant.
I thought he was like the master of the world, but he's stuck in it?
He was pulled in, yes.
So he's not just the master, he's also the prisoner.
Yes. Oh. Because he's been working with forces beyond his control.
That's very
stuff that he shouldn't even be messing with.
Yeah, that's textbook Lovecraftian to have like knowledge but also madness at the same time. So he's a victim of his own success in a way.
That's why King is in quotes, because while he technically has control over this realm, there's still beings or entities, whatever you want to call them, that exist that are above him.
He's more like the puppet king.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Charlie becomes the night monster.
So it's Charlie the one that kills you in the dark all the time?
Yep.
It's kind of antithetical to know what she looks like because it's in the dark in Lovecraftian.
But yeah, she's the night monster. Around 1910, Abigail Lillian Carter dies under mysterious circumstances, possibly falling off a cliff. We don't know for sure. There's a short with Wendy and Abigail where, like, it implies that she fell off a cliff or whatever, but we don't know if that's actually what happened.
April 16th, 1914. Wendy Carter writes an entry in her diary. I keep hearing strange music when I dream, the same song repeating over and over. Is it you, Abigail? Are you trying to tell me something? Wendy is taken to the Constant by Maxwell shortly afterward. What do you mean taken to?
All we can see, in the few videos we have seen of people being taken to the Constant, they just get taken by shadow hands.
Oh, so they can come out from anywhere.
I'm actually not sure about that because it seems that they usually come from a radio. And that's why her diary entry about the same song playing.
Oh, so there's theories
important.
of the mechanism for which it works, but basically no one is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maxwell chooses who he brings into the Constant, and he can choose anyone.
That's horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I liked playing as Wendy, to be honest. I would often use her undead sister Abigail, her ghost. I would summon her, and she would like help me like attack spiders and whatnot. But the problem is Wendy's really frail, so she would really rely on Abigail to help her fight the spiders.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wendy would go insane because she was fighting spiders with an undead sister, and so she would lose her sanity. And I had severe sanity issues, okay?
Yeah. Willow is orphaned and lives in an orphanage with cruel caregivers. She's plagued by shadow monsters from the Constant, which she kept away with her teddy bear, Bernie. One night, Bernie is taken from her, and she sets fire to the orphanage to keep the shadow monsters away. She retrieves Bernie and leaves the orphanage. This is a flash we get from her past.
Oh yeah, I remember watching this one.
Yep.
You kind of wrote it a bit crass, to be honest, because she was so terrified of the shadow monsters that she ends up starting a fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's implied that she kills everyone there at the orphanage because of it.
Yeah, because everyone burns in the fire.
Right, and like in like Lovecraftian form, it's like, were the monsters real? Did this child just snap one day and just murder a whole orphanage? You know, because this child was abused, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for all intents and purposes, the shadow monsters are real, as much real as we could call anything real from Maxwell's world.
Yep.
Which is dubious, but from one player character to another, but they're real enough.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's a pyromaniac. She actually gained sanity from setting things on fire.
Yeah, and this is her origin story. This is when she first learned to set fires, is because she wanted the monsters to go away, and she learned that they went away when she set fires.
Mm-hmm. Which, for the record, in the game doesn't always happen, but sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the shadow monster.
Yep.
1919. The Voxola PR-76 radio is manufactured in Sydney, Ohio. The factory was destroyed in a fire days after production. Only a few radios remain, one being in the possession of Wilson. The founder of Voxola, Robert Wagstaff, was declared missing the same night as the fire. Okay, who is Wilson and who is Wagstaff?
Wilson is a scientist. And Wagstaff is an inventor. You remember Wilson, right? He's like the first character that you can play as.
Oh, I play him as the first time and never again because he was boring.
Yeah. Wilson is the first character you can play as. He's a gentleman scientist. Wagstaff is an older man who is an inventor.
Is he playable?
He's playable in the single-player version as a character.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and this radio is...
So that's why you're saying the radios are the transmission method.
Because often in the shorts, and if a person has a radio, is when we'll see it. Like, even... sorry, I'll talk about the new character later, but, like, in that short, it was a radio, too.
Okay, so yeah, so theory pretty much confirmed it's the radios.
Mm-hmm. But Wendy was taken before the radios, so...
Well, it was possibly like a certain frequency, and that radio just managed to hitch that certain frequency.
I mean, it's also possible that since she was his niece, he managed to find a way to take her. He was actually sucked into a portal of his own creation, which also caused an explosion in his factory. And that portal went into the Constant. But, only the single-player version, apparently.
They should put him in the multiplayer one.
I thought he was from Hamlet, but no, he's just in the single-player version.
All right. Factory worker Winona is unable to save Wagstaff and the portal breaks down. Winona repairs and reactivates the portal and sees her missing sister, Charlie. She tries to pull Charlie through, but Charlie's night monster side takes over and pulls Winona into the portal as well.
And that's how Winona is taken into the Constant.
So that's why she gets an extra free hit in the night.
Because Charlie is her sister.
Charlie
so
goes
she
easy
knows
on
Charlie's moves.
Oh, okay.
That's what she says. She says, "I know all your moves, sis," or something like that.
That's so tragic. Charlie didn't deserve any of this. Why is Charlie killing everyone? It's just madness, I'm guessing.
Well, she was taken in by Maxwell, and she got forced into the Constant with Maxwell. So it's not like she willingly went.
I know. I'm guessing it's just madness.
She was turned into a night monster.
Yeah.
1921. Wilson, depressed after failing a scientific experiment, receives a message from his Voxola that he may be able to succeed with secret knowledge if he thinks he's ready for it. Wilson accepts the offer and is given the knowledge to build a strange contraption. He's ordered to pull the device's lever by the Voxola. Upon doing so, shadowy hands appear from below Wilson, pulling him into the Constant. The Voxola was Maxwell all along. And this is the first short you see of Don't Starve, where Wilson is pulled into the Constant by the radio.
You're saying the Voxola was Maxwell? You're not saying that literally, are you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I just think it
was his doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Willow is pulled into the Constant sometime in her early 20s, around the same time Wilson was. Oh, wait, so Willow's an adult when you're playing as her?
Yeah, she's, I looked it up. She's in her early 20s.
But Wendy is still a girl.
Wendy is around 11. Actually, she's exactly 11, depending on when she was pulled into the Constant, because we have the year she was born in.
Is the Constant, irrelevant of time?
Yes, time doesn't work there.
Okay, so you just don't age.
Yep.
Okay. Because I was wondering how Willow and Wendy could be at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, no, time doesn't work in the Constant.
Okay.
Warley was a promising sous chef in Paris, but gave that up and went to stay with his mama Angeline, who had dementia, in order to care for her. He cooks her recipes that she had taught him when he was younger, in the hope of her recognizing him again. And this worked, but she remembered less and less as time went on. Warley started hearing a voice on the radio, and was taken to the Constant, appearing in 2 different realms.
What do you mean, 2 different realms?
I will explain the different realms later.
Okay. I want an explanation now.
No, later.
I remember Warley, though. You tried playing as him. Oh, by the way, we should mention, Don't Starve has been getting a lot better with person of color representation, like with Warley.
Yeah.
They could still do better, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
And they have, more monsters than non-conforming gender, so...
Yeah.
Work on that.
The robot is non-binary.
Because he's it's a robot.
No, but it literally uses they pronouns.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they don't do the thing where they automatically assume the robot's a he.
Bare minimum, yay.
But Yes, this is from the short where Warley is taken because they recently added him as a character, and it's so heartbreaking to see him make the food and feed it to his grandmother, and then she remembers him, and then a few moments later, or they do it with color. Like the color comes in when he's feeding her, and then it fades away after. Her because she doesn't remember anymore, and it's so sad.
Dementia is it's horrible.
Yeah, it's such a sad short. I should show you it, but yeah,
it doesn't matter honestly because Warley is so picky. It is so hard to feed him. He deserves it. I'm kidding. But you remember playing as him?
Yeah.
It's hard to play as him because he's so picky with what he eats.
Yeah, in the short. Like, he gets taken to the constant, and then you just see his mom and Angeline sitting there in the rocking chair alone.
I get you're trying to make me cry. Let's move on. I'm resistant to tears right now.
Okay.
Wolfgang is a strong man for the circus and is taken to the constant. Okay, so another character. He's the muscle guy, right?
Yeah,
okay.
And he actually got a character refresh, too. His mechanics work differently. The more he eats, the stronger he gets.
Okay, cool. I like all the character, like choosing which character you want to play as really affects how you survive.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
WX-78 is a robot made by Wagstaff who's taken to the constant.
So what was the robot doing while Wagstaff was missing?
We don't know when WX-78 was taken.
So it's possible like right after he was taken, WX-78 tried to fix the situation in Maxwell.
No, Winona did that, but
but then Winona, and then after she's gone, then WX-78 tries to do something, and Maxwell's like, okay, fine, you come too.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, yeah.
I actually like playing as WX-78, because I like being a robot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, he's just a little boring. Like, one of his things is he can eat food no matter how rotten it is, but it doesn't, just because you can eat rotten food doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Uh-huh. Wickerbottom is an old librarian who is taken to the constant.
Yeah, I never bothered playing as her.
She has some interesting books.
She's like the old librarian?
Yeah, who can make... Also, did you know that she can make the first tier science items without having to prototype anything? She doesn't need a science machine.
Because she's knowledgeable.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Woody is a Canadian lumberjack who is cursed to turn into a were-beaver and is taken to the constant. Wait. Was he cursed before or after?
Before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess this is his second paranormal run-in.
I mean, the short isn't clear, so it's possible he was cursed when he was taken in there, but I don't know.
Whatever.
Update on his curse. He can now turn into a were-duck and a were-moose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did a character refresh on
So he's just basically animal transformations.
Yep.
What happens when you transform? Is it just like you have other attacks and stuff, or?
Yeah. You can choose, it's really interesting, because, you can eat the effigy of the animal and turn into it. And, because he can eat wood. And, yeah. And, of course, on the full moon, he turns into the were-beaver. But, yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? There's a lot of creatures in the constant that do were stuff. Like, the hogs turn to were-hogs. Or the pigs turn to were-hogs.
Were-pigs.
Were-pigs?
Yes. Were-hogs are actually a different thing that is in a different realm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Wes is a mime who is taken to the constant.
I never bothered playing as him. What's his deal?
He's supposed to be a challenge because he's actually really frail and he has balloons that he can do stuff with, and that's pretty much it.
Is he maybe resistant to sanity or something because he has this mime thing?
Nope.
There's gotta be some upside.
His balloon stuff might be interesting, but I didn't look into what his balloon stuff actually does.
Okay. Wigfrid is a stage actress playing the part of a Valkyrie warrior who is taken to the constant. Wait, so her whole thing about being a Viking is just role-playing?
Yeah, she's a method actor. She's an actress. Maxwell likes to take performers, in case you didn't notice.
Oh, like, yeah, I see that. But I thought she was an actual Viking.
No, she was an actress.
She's just been pretending this whole time?
Yes.
She refuses to eat vegetables. She eats only meat.
Yeah, that's part of her method acting.
She is starving to death, and she's like, no, gotta play the part. She has unique weapons, too.
Yeah. Walani is a Hawaiian surfer who was taken to the Constant.
Wait, I have never seen her. Who is she?
She's from one of the DLCs in the single-player game.
Aww.
Yeah, and they haven't added her. Worley was from that same DLC, so it is possible that they will add her in the future.
The thing is, I'm never going to play the single-player one. I never want to play it alone. That game is already hard enough with a friend. I don't want to play it alone.
Okay, sorry. But yeah.
Walter is a Boy Scout who is investigating a cryptid when he finds an empty cabin and is taken to the Constant. He immediately befriended a strange dog named Wobby.
It is not an actual dog. It's a strange constant creature, but it's like a dog, and he befriended it.
Okay.
And that's what the first thing that happens when he gets taken into the Constant, if you watch his short.
Okay. I've heard you talking about him lately, because he's the newest character.
Yep. He's a black Boy Scout.
I don't care for the Boy Scouts.
I know.
I used to be one, actually.
I didn't know that.
It was very brief. Mm-hmm. I was a kid. I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, when he went into that cabin, he saw the radio, the old radio, and it was the Vox Solo one, and that's when he was taken into the Constant. But yeah.
Cool.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think the cryptid he is trying to hunt was the werebeaver.
Okay.
It was something like that, yeah.
By the way, if you're wondering, the reason that my parents stopped making us be Boy Scouts is because they recognize the rampant corruption.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we are starting with in-game events, and we are starting with the original Don't Starve single-player game and the Reign of Giants expansion, which adds some stuff.
Okay. Wilson spends an indeterminate amount of time in the Constant, dying multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. So you can actually come back in the game, but that's actually in, like, the story. Like, that's... Mm-hmm. It's not one of those game things that we just ignore. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Weber is a child who was eaten by spider and lived inside of it now.
So was Weber born in the Constant?
Weber was likely a child who was just kidnapped by Maxwell and brought into the Constant and then got eaten by a spider.
Are there human beings born in the Constant?
I don't think so.
Okay, so only non-human things are native to the Constant.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Weber is really cool, though. I don't think you really did it justice. I played as Weber a few times. He's like a Spider-Man.
He's literally someone inside of a spider.
Yeah, like imagine... Okay, it's hard to imagine, but if you see one of the spiders in the game, it's like someone like it's like a cartoon animal ate a person, and there's a person's shaped thing sticking out of their belly.
Yeah,
that's how it is.
Yep.
And they're both still alive, and they just kind of like live this way now.
Yep.
Like I remember souls will become part of the game at some point, and Weber is the only character to have 2 souls.
Yep.
And spiders love Weber, so you don't have to fight spiders when you're Weber unless you just really want to. Mm-hmm. Wilson finds Weber's skull by killing spiders and resurrects him by burying it in a grave.
That's how you unlock Weber as a character.
Oh my goodness, that's horrible!
Yep, that's how you unlock him.
So Weber probably was in there long before Wilson was.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah. That implies that some playable characters, i.e. human beings, or humanoids, were dead for considerable periods of time before someone brought them back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They all have skulls in the assets. Like skulls with their hair on it. And I don't know. There's no explanation of why, but they all have skull assets. The events of Adventure Mode begin as Wilson finds Maxwell's door and goes through. And this door bears a resemblance to the portal he made back in the real world.
While surviving in the Constant, Wilson finds Wes trapped by clockwork monsters and frees him.
And that's how you unlock Wes. Wilson survives 5 challenges in the Constant, finding the pieces to make a portal to the next one and constructing it each time, and makes it to the Nightmare Throne.
So this is what you're talking about, the realms? Explain the realms to me.
Well, no, this is still just in the regular Constant, but these are challenges made by Maxwell, and there's like 6 to 8 of them, and you only go through 5 of them, and so it's random each time which exact ones.
So it's taking you to a different place in the world?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And like it's a challenge. Like one of the worlds is permanent night. Actually, that one's at the end where it's permanent night. One of the worlds is like it's winter.
So these are sub-realms is what you're saying?
I guess they're more like just areas Maxwell has made to challenge you.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they have different gimmicks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But they're randomized, so it's not certain which challenges you'll be facing each time.
He is encouraged by Maxwell to kill him by freeing him from the throne. So wait, Maxwell wants to die?
He wants to be free from the throne because he recognizes that he is enslaved to an entity higher than him now.
Oh, so Maxwell isn't really evil just like Charlie wasn't. No one here is really evil except for like the shadow monsters.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Maxwell, I hated you.
Maxwell reveals that some kind of Eldritch entities are always watching, and he is beholden to them in some way, though he has almost complete control over the realm of the Constant that Wilson has been surviving in.
Okay, maybe I don't feel that bad for you. Wilson replaces Maxwell on the Nightmare Throne, and Maxwell becomes one of the survivors. Wait.
And that's how you unlock Maxwell to play as.
Okay, cool, but like... So Wilson becomes the bad guy then?
Wilson becomes enslaved on the Nightmare Throne, yes. And whatever character you play as in the adventure mode is the one that takes the throne. And if you've already taken the throne from Maxwell, then the character that took the throne will be on the throne the next time you play through.
So it's like a never-ending cycle then?
Yep.
Oh, that's not satisfying at all.
Well, this is the adventure mode.
Alright, what's next?
Alright. This is a different realm of the Constant called Shipwreck. This is the Shipwreck DLC. And it is an alternate realm in the Constant, which is a huge... Oh, wait. Alternate realm in the Constant, mainly composed of tropical islands and ocean.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different realm because you can actually travel between this realm and the other. I'll explain how in a bit.
Though the other survivors can end up here, Walani and Warley originally woke up here when they were taken to the Constant.
Mm-hmm. Wilbur is a monkey king without his crown. Another survivor finds him floating at sea and gives him his crown. And that's when you unlock Wilbur, who's a monkey.
Is he like Sun Wukong from Chinese religion?
He's just a monkey. A king monkey.
So he's just what, a chimpanzee?
He's a prime ape. That's what they're called in game. But he's the king of the primates.
Oh, so he's from the Constant.
Yes.
But you can play as him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
He's the king of the primates, so he's friendly with them. And, he can't talk, actually. This is an interesting mechanic, is that some characters can't talk, so they won't warn of incoming danger in the normal way.
Oh, okay. Woodlegs is a pirate who was captured inside the volcano. Another survivor finds the keys to his cage and sets him free.
He was also in the Constant.
Cool.
In this realm...
Wait, no. Is he a human?
Yes.
So
he was kidnapped.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. In this realm, the survivor can find a children's ride called the Seaworthy and use it to travel to the surface world of the Constant.
I don't know what that means. Surface world of the constant?
The surface world is the original world where Wilson wakes up and all that adventure mode stuff happens.
Oh, so this is just like a beneath level, of floor B1, if you will.
It's a different realm, yeah. Yeah, okay.
All right. Next, we have Hamlet. This is an alternate realm in the constant, which is a huge sky island that contains a city of pigs and their queen.
This is where the pigs came from.
Oh, the pigs are annoying, because every character I pick, they usually like beating them up.
Alright. Wormwood is a root that gains sentience through a crystal that fell from the moon. And he's a very kind and adorable little boy in the short, because he just wants to make friends.
Oh yeah, I remember you playing as Wormwood, who was pretty cool, because he gets sandy by planting flowers and trees and stuff, and hates it when their flowers are picked or anything. And picking flowers is one of the best way to get sandy by most characters. It's the opposite with Wormwood. So you have to be careful to what you do around Wormwood, because Wormwood gets upset really easily, and you're like, I'm just trying to not be killed by shadow monsters.
Yep.
Wheeler is an adventurer that crashed her air balloon into this realm of the constant.
So it's kind of like an Amelia Earhart situation where she was...
Oh, but she's a black woman, right?
I don't know. She could be a woman of color. I don't know.
Well, some woman of color. I think she's black, though.
Yeah, but she literally was flying her air balloon and managed to get into the constant and crash on this one. And that's where the beginning of Hamlet is that you crash your balloon. Yeah.
I think, honestly, she's probably one of the characters I would most want to try in Don't Starve Together.
She's really interesting mechanics-wise. Wilba is the pig princess and inherited a curse to turn into a werepig from her father. She is grounded for losing the pig queen's crown, but is freed when the survivor finds the crown and returns it.
And you can play as her?
Yep.
Is she literally a pig?
Yes.
Oh.
She's a little girl pig with red ringlets of hair, and she's in a little dress because she's the princess.
Okay, cool.
And the pigs love her.
Now I feel bad for killing the pigs, but then why do they keep attacking me?
Because you're a monster?
That's judgmental. I don't like that.
Alright, come on.
Don't Starve Together.
Now this is the lore that is exclusive to the multiplayer game.
Charlie banishes Wilson back to the constant and takes the throne for herself. Wait, what?
Yep.
So in Don't Starve Together, that's why you can play as both Wilson and Maxwell, because Charlie takes the throne.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Do you ever see her in Don't Starve Together?
I don't know.
Aside from just, her killing you in the night.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Maxwell and Wilson meet, form a truce, and build the jury-rigged portal which joins the survivors' dimensions. Wendy, Wes, and Wolfgang arrive through it just as Charlie takes the portal over and turns it into the florid postern. All the other survivors, excluding Wolani, Wilbur, Woodlegs, Wilba, Wheeler, and Wagstaff, arrive through the postern and join forces.
Oh, so that explains all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what, Maxwell? I'm sorry. I'm warming up to you again.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, Wendy, Wickerbottom, and Weber fight the ancient Fuel Weaver. Eventually, the Fuel Weaver is taken away by Charlie. The ancient gateway destabilizes. What?
The Fuel Weaver is the endgame boss in the ruins of Don't Starve Together. And when you defeat it, Charlie does something with it. And the ancient gateway is how you travel between realms is the official way to travel between realms in the constant. So if you ever want to leave, the ancient gateway is your only hope.
Oh, so she literally stops you and closes the door if you ever do reach to it. So after everything you try to escape, Charlie just intervenes and you have to start over and it's never ending again?
I'm not sure the Ancient Gateway works like that, but the Ancient Gateway is used basically to go to other realms like the... we can continue talking, we'll figure it out.
Okay, but why only these characters? Why can only...
because that's just what's listed as... It's really all survivors in any of them because you can play as any of them.
Then why'd you specify that?
Because that's what it says on the wiki, so I was just following what it said.
Well, that's wrong then. The wiki needs correction.
Yeah, alright. It hasn't been updated with the new characters.
Winona arrives through a portal similar to the ancient gateway, attempting to rescue her sister. So she's just late to the party? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the gateway is activated with the ancient key, and all the survivors enter.
Where's the gateway take them to?
Read what's next.
The survivors arrive in a dimension known as the Forge. The inhabitants were banished here by the throne. Their leader, Battlemaster Pugna, calls the survivors gatekeepers and accuses them of attempting to return his people to the throne. The survivors battle a series of increasingly difficult enemies in Battlemaster Pugna's arena before defeating the Grand Forge Boreor. Pugna surrenders and allows them to use the Molten Gateway. When does this happen?
This is an event that they did called the Forge in Don't Starve Together. And so this was a playable event where you go through the ancient gateway, go in this realm, and play through this event.
Can we still play it?
I'm not sure, actually.
Is there a settings when you're creating the world decided to this event?
It's possible. I don't remember, actually. It's possible it was only a limited time event.
I will not be happy if that's the case. But
I think they're bringing them back as permanent game modes, if that is.
If they haven't already. Because, again, the settings for making your own world are pretty complex. It could be in there.
Yeah. Directly after the events in the Forge, the survivors find themselves in a new dimension, the Elder Bog. For years, the goat-like inhabitants of this dimension have been under the threat of the Gnaw, a giant worm in the sky that turns those who fail to satiate its appetite into merms. Only a few beings remain alive, and the world has been left in ruins by the worm's rage. The survivors, with the help of Mumsy the goat woman, must cook to satiate the Gnaw, and eventually earn enough favors to charge the ancient key and grant them an escape. Mumsy, who also considers them gatekeepers, mentions that another of their kind passed through her dimension once. The survivors succeed, making their exit through the mossy gateway, along with Mumsy and her son Billy.
Okay, so another event. A large piece of the moon lands in the ocean. Wilsa, Winona, and Wigfrid build a boat to reach the new island, on which they discover horrifying creatures and a bizarre aura of lunacy. Oh, those are the islands that we've never managed to sail to yet.
Yep.
Because it's so hard to figure out which direction in the ocean you're supposed to go.
Yep. And this is from the short, and in the short they show Wilson, Winona, and Wigfrid.
Oh, so that's why they specify.
Yeah. Wartox is an imp who hung out with Krampus until he tried to steal Beefalo Baby, and then fought him to free the baby, which caused him to absorb Krampus's soul.
So who is Krampus?
Krampus is the naughtiness thing that comes and tries to steal your stuff if you're too naughty.
So he's just one of the monsters, basically?
Yeah, he's one of the monsters that spawns.
But he's like one of the boss monsters.
He doesn't directly attack you, he steals your stuff.
Okay.
Like, he has a big sack and steals your stuff, which I think is in line with the original legend of Krampus.
So Wartox was like an elf, basically.
It was an imp.
Same thing.
Whatever.
Look, different cultures have Santa, they have Krampus, they have imps, they have elves, they have black slaves, because Christmas mythology isn't problematic at all. Honestly, it was probably good for Wartox to leave him and become a demon, because he looks awesome as a demon. He's my favorite character. Go Wartox, bleep Krampus. Wartox is actually really cool. He can do dimensional teleportation, and he can feed on souls. Mm-hmm. So you kill a random creature, you can eat their soul too.
That's why he doesn't like doing that, though. That's why he loses sanity and stuff, because he was just a mischievous imp and fell in with the wrong crowd and tried to stop Krampus, and that's when he discovered he could absorb souls.
Well, see, you can also use the souls to heal your teammates instead of eating them yourself.
Yeah, true.
See, let's reclaim the means of soul production.
Shut up.
Distribute them evenly. Wirt is a young girl who doesn't feel at home with the other merms and is curious about the survivors.
She's a little merm girl.
Oh, so she's just like a merm who's not overtly hostile and violent, and that's what makes her different.
Yeah, she's just a little girl who's a merm.
That's why you can play as her.
Yeah, and she likes stories and candy.
And she's friendly with humans.
Yep. She's very curious about the survivors.
But she won't get attacked by other merms if you play as her.
No, and although she will get attacked by, I think, any mobs that are hostile to merms.
Like pigs, yeah.
I think so, yeah. But she can craft a disguise and give it to people so that they can be non-hostile to merms.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yep.
None of the, like, Weber can't disguise people as spiders. That's cool.
Yeah, although this is something I found out with Weber, though. Because of the Hamlet expansions, like, the Pig City is the main part of it, he gets a special disguise item with no durability that he can use to disguise himself to go into the Pig City.
Oh, because they wanted to explain the roleplay of it without making it so incredibly difficult for one specific character.
Yeah.
That's actually cool. Honestly, some of the durability stuff is a bit garbage. It's why you have to have mods that make it a bit easier. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, things break before you ever get a chance of using them.
You know, Wagstaff needs goggles because he's nearsighted, and so he has a bunch of different recipes for goggles he can make that do different things. And he has to have goggles on to be able to see.
Oh, okay. See, when I'm playing as Wartox, I tend to have, like... I try to keep mushrooms on me at all times because cooking a mushroom can help your sanity. If you get the right kind, you don't want to get the wrong kind. And then I also I go through a ton of food. Wartox just devours food because when Wartox eats souls, all other food. Souls souls fill up Wartox's hunger, but all other food only does it by half. Mm-hmm. The other food, though, doesn't make me lose sanity. So I'll just I can either eat all of our reserved food or I eat all these souls and go insane. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you see me rummaging through the fridge. Kira's like, Kyle, I just cooked so much. And I'm like, sorry, there were only so many bunnies I could kill. Sometimes I'll literally just go to like a beehive because like each bee has a soul, so come on, I'm sorry.
Honestly, I really want to play as the new character, Walter, because he seems really interesting. Did you know he doesn't lose sanity unless he gets hurt?
Interesting.
Like, just the normal night sanity and stuff. Like, if he picks an evil flower or something like that, he'll still lose sanity. But he doesn't naturally lose sanity because of the dark.
That seems very useful.
Mm-hmm. But he does lose sanity if he gets hit with any health. Like, if his health gets hit.
Ah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yep.
This is a really cool game. Definitely recommend it. The mods, though, are basically required.
Yeah.
Anything else? There's lots of animal friends in the game. So, like, while you will find a lot of hostile animals, there are some that are friendly. Like, beefalo are always helpful, because that's where you can get wool to stock up for the winter, so you're not cold. Mm-hmm. There's also this bug creature called Glommer you can find, and its spit is very good at healing you, but makes you go insane if you ever try doing it, because you're rubbing bug spit on yourself.
It's gross.
But Glommer's nice, if a bit annoying. His wing flapping is loud. Mm-hmm.
You can make pets, too.
Oh, yeah. They're useless, but you can make them.
They're adorable.
They should at least increase sanity. I'm surprised they don't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Some of the pets are really hard to get. I really want a lava slug. A lavae is what they're called.
Yeah, why?
I really want one. But they're really hard to get because you have to kill a giant dragonfly. And that's
no, it's literally a dragon.
Yeah. And when you kill it, it only even has a chance at dropping a lava egg. Mm-hmm. And you can't take an existing lava. You have to hatch one yourself. Mm-hmm. And even then, they're like lava slugs, so they literally set everything on fire as they go over it. Mm-hmm. We have a mod that lets you fix that. Mm-hmm. But it's so hard to get one in the first place.
Yeah.
There's giants in this game. I don't know if we talked about that.
Oh yeah, that's from the Reign of Giants expansion.
Oh, the Deerclops is the worst one.
Yeah.
Because the first winter, when you're barely surviving in the winter, your camp is there. You're going around the campfire for heat. You're covered in wool if you manage to prepare well enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to eat whatever you can because it's so hard to find food in the winter. And then one night you just hear, and you have about 15 seconds to prepare before the deer clops completely wrecks your camp.
Yeah. That's why I was saying that the characters who can't talk are interesting, because they don't say anything when you hear those noises. So you have to catch those noises.
Yeah, like some of the giants, they're okay because like the big moose bird, it's just like whenever the moose bird shows up, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go that way now.
Yeah, it doesn't hunt you down or get mad at you. Just,
unless you try to take off
Yeah.
it's chick pups, whatever you call them. Mooselings is what they're called.
Yeah.
And so that's fine, but it's the ones that go after you, like the living tree. If you cut down too many trees, one of them comes to life.
Mm-hmm.
They're called tree guards, and they hunt you down for revenge for the trees.
Yep.
My response is usually like, "Oh, well, I need to chop this down because I need the wood. I'm not stopping the tree chopping."
Mm-hmm.
And then you might be like, "But Kyle, that's foolish. There's no way you could take on a tree guard. You're not prepared for this." It's like, well, the tree guard doesn't realize I do have something. Fire. So Kira comes over. It's like, Kyle, why is the entire forest burned down? And I'm like, one of the trees was chasing me, but don't worry, it's gone now.
And it's actually beneficial to burn down a whole forest, because then you just collect the ashes and charcoal.
Right, but you gotta do it right away before it blows away.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're done here. This has been Game Theorem. We have a Twitter, Game Theorems. We talked about Don't Starve. It was fun. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kira.
Bye.
Bye.